Good evening, everybody, and a chance to speak to head coach Aaron Fox as we record this on Friday, a day that the club has announced the signing. I don't think it's a re-signing. I think it's a signing of Alex Graham on a full-time deal, and also the news that Evan Mosley won't be with us as well has broken today. We'll discuss both those things in greater detail, Aaron. But generally, since the end of the season, it's been non-stop for you, hasn't it? I don't think there is such a thing as an off season anymore. Just talk us through your process from the last game of the year and exit meetings, and what your thoughts have been as you've tried to plan ahead to where we are today.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the year, there's obviously a lot of time for reflection and, kind of looking at what you maybe could have done a little bit different to get us to where we wanted to be. We came up short, which took me a while to actually get over. But that's the nature of this business. You're always going to be disappointed if you don't win anything. The way we lost that semifinal game against Cardiff was a little bit disheartening as well. So I took a little bit of time. Obviously, there's not. It's a pretty quick turnaround, though. To be fair, guys were flying out of country 4 or 5 days after that last weekend. National team guys, shot right down to Nottingham a day after too. So you're piecing together some exit meetings. We in this league, it's a little bit harder to do deals earlier in the year for guys for next year. Just because you really need to win something if you're going to bring a bunch of guys back, and you don't want to bring too many guys back if you don't. There's going to be some turnover there. In saying that, we weren't far away. So I don't think you need a nuclear blow up. You identify some core pieces that we think are going to help us, get over the hump next year, and focus on getting some of those guys back, and then look to see where you can get better. There's lots of players' names that come across my desk. You evaluate them from a statistical point of view, and then you start doing the deep dive and watching the video on the ones you think that are going to be the most helpful. The guys got out of town. I spent a week in Cyprus with my family, which was great. Something that we needed a little sun. And just were able to shut off a little bit. I mean, Simsy, that we did get a deal done when I was on vacation that week. You know what I mean? So, so
It
even though
never
I
stops.
was I was on I was on vacation, yeah, you're still working the phones at night, and still doing some bits of work, because you got to be available in this business, especially if you're going to do both like I do. It's been good though. Yeah, I'm happy with where we're at currently.
Is it more of a tinkering than a rebuild, Aaron?
Well, I guess it depends on you might not get everyone back that you wanted back, at the end of the day as well. There's other opportunities out there for guys. Maybe guys are looking for a different situation. I think we're close to where we want to be at this stage with the returning guys. Like you said, Evan Mosey decided to move on. He was someone that, I would have brought back in a similar role to he was in this year with that swing guy. I feel like Evan's such a good skater and was a versatile player for us. So, we had multiple conversations, and he wanted to go a different direction, and I respect that. There's, no hard feelings there.
Was Greenfield the big one?
Yeah, we Greener we got done earlier in the year. He did look at some other opportunities outside of the UK. At the end of the day, he loved our situation, loved the city. Him and his wife wanted to be back. For us, it was an absolute no-brainer. He did carry us for a portion of the year there for sure. And it's nice to start the summer out just knowing that we got someone there that's going to give us a chance to win every night. And that's what you're looking forward for in the goalie position, is just that consistency that he brought.
He's not just a great goalie. He seems a first-class individual as well, isn't he? A super bloke.
Yeah, I don't think that throughout the year there's going to be some ups and downs in that room. It is a long 32, 33, 34 weeks where you might have some guys that rub some other guys the wrong way at times throughout the year. I think that's normal in this business. I don't think Greener rubbed anyone the wrong way at any point
Yeah.
this year. So he's a guy who, even when we played him a ton, he'd still come to the rink and he competes so hard in practice and such a good teammate. Absolute no-brainer. Absolutely.
Okay, the league have announced in the last 48 hours the 15 import rule. It's kind of been talked about and known in hockey circles for a while. How did that change your philosophy on building a team? Because obviously it has led to Davies' departure, which we can only take as an assumption that we're perhaps going to have with 5 import defensemen next year rather than the 4 we've had for the last 3 years. What was your thinking behind where that 15th import went and what role he would play?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. With us having Doughty, Wiss, and Sam Jones under contract for the second year of all of their deals, that's three spots right there. You'll use that fourth spot obviously for a British goaltender. Whether that's Curtis on another type two-way type deal. I've had conversations there. He obviously wants to be playing some games at some point too, so that's something that we're still looking at. And that ultimately left one spot available. And you know, I love Davey. I love the character that he brings to our room. He's going to be missed 100% in our locker room. Um, and with him in his position at his age, and with a guy like Alex Graham at 20 years old, with other teams knocking on his door as a potential one of their 5, we felt like giving Grammer a full-time role next year was the play, and running with 5 import D. So again, I don't have enough good things to say about Davey and what he's brought to our room and our group. It was a bit of a numbers game here from that side of things. If we were at 6 again, I'm sure that there was a deal to be done with Davey, immediately after the season. But I know you mentioned that in the hockey circles, people knew about it, but as you also know, like, it wasn't a guarantee with some of the stuff that's went on behind the scenes with the other teams and with the federation. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah,
something that we
yeah.
couldn't officially announce or agree to until very recently. So, I'm happy with the 4 we got. Absolutely, currently. I think Grammer's going to have a big year for us. I think he's going to take that next step. Brandon Whistle had already taken a big leap. And then, like you said, that 15th spot is going to be a defenseman that we're going to run 5D with. So, now it's just up to me to make sure we find the right pieces back there.
To change into the guard, isn't it? You go back several years ago, Thomas Hewitt, Phillips, Dowd, Tate, and then slowly but surely they've gone away, and with Jono and Davey leading, it seems now that, if you like, the backpack is on Whistle and Jones, and now young Alex. And it was Alex's time, wasn't it? Because I think everybody's been expecting Alex to, would he get a job last year? Was it going to be this year? Would it be next year? But this seems the right time for him.
Oh, absolutely. He led the NHL in points per game last year as a 20-year-old. Some good players in that league, and he was at the top. And when he played with us, he shows that he can not only play a fourth line role, but his stick skills and his development as a player has improved tenfold. So he's bought in down in big games. He was playing late in hockey games, so I only expect him to take another one next year.
As we sit here, Aaron, you and I are lucky that, well, you're lucky that you've told me the names of some of the guys that you've re-signed and signed, and the club will announce those in the weeks ahead. Um, what kind of team are you looking to build that's perhaps a little bit different from the ones that you've built in the past? And with the new faces that you're going to be bringing in, what are you looking from them? Is it going to be a change of direction, or just more of the same direction that we've been going in?
Well, again, until you have that whole core, to know exactly how things
Tough.
are going to look, I still look at that list. I got the lines or my projected lines right now next to me on what we currently have, what we're still missing, what I still need to go find. You might not always get exactly what you're looking for in those
Mm.
types of situations because the player pool is what it is. But I feel like we needed to get a bit heavier on the back end. Definitely. we were a little bit lightweight there. A lot of the stuff that we gave up was right around the net and crease, and we got to be able to take care of our net front a little bit better than we did at times last year. So we're going to look to get a little bit bigger, not only on the back end as well. You know what I mean? We wanted to add some size to our forward group as well. I'm always a pace driven type coach, so we're going to want to play fast, and that doesn't mean you have to be an absolute burner, but the way we play is going to still be up tempo and pushing the pace from that side of things. You know, like you said, the names that we've got done right now, I'm very comfortable with and feel like we got some really good pieces. There's still some work to be done here. You know, we did lack some goals down the stretch last year. So there's always, you know, you always have your goal line up there, and how many goals are these guys going to produce, and are they going to fit in those parameters? If they are over, if they can do better than that, great. If they do under than that, who's gonna step up and find you those goals? So it's, you know, it's a puzzle. I try to go piece by piece. I try not to have two, three offers out there at one time, because you know, I like to get one piece done, move on to the next piece, and just kind of put that puzzle together the best way. We obviously know that, you know, since I've been here, Simsy, we've got one, Cardiff has one, and Belfast has five, you know, trophies. And
Yeah.
that's something that, you know, we talked about before I came, closing that gap. We did get one that first year, but the last 2 years we've went dry. And, you know, you got to look at what Belfast has done, and steal some ideas at times from the, you know, where they get their, how do they recruit, where do they get their players. You know, they were a team that had six import D for 95% of the time last year. Cardiff went with five. You know what I mean? So again, I think you know, we're always trying to get better. You can sit in front of the video and do as much as you want, but you know, you just got to make sure you get it right.
What's the market like out there? Is there lots of emails coming in? Is there lots of players out there?
Yeah,
Because for the last couple of
yeah,
years, post COVID, it's been pretty dry, hasn't it?
yeah. It's different every year. You know, there are, again, the issue isn't, it's not the players that are available. It's, are the players available to the UK currently? You know, that's the sell. You know, players that are available right now, you know, might be ones that you're not 100% sure are going to get it done for you. And you'd hate to not have a couple spots open late when some guys that had didn't have the UK on their mind, you know what I mean, panic a little bit and become available to us. So it's a different market every year, and I'm sure if you called, you know, down to Pete Russell in Cardiff, or Paul Dixon in Guildford, Danny Stewart in Coventry, they might view things differently. You know what I mean? Some guys like to get their teams done as early as they can. Some guys like to wait. It's, you know, it's different across the board.
Aaron, we've also found out this week Glasgow have got new owners and they're going to be looking to impress their fan base. Cardiff obviously have changed their coach, changing a lot of players. This league's only going to get tougher. It's a great league, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, Simsy. It's from the time I started watching the league, you know, from the first conversations we've had, I think the league has just gotten better and better. And I think you've seen now too some players that come into our league that end up going on and moving on to Austria, to Germany, to Denmark, to Norway. So it's, from that point of view, it's a little bit easier to recruit to. I think in years past, players felt like if they went to the UK, that might have been like the graveyard, or that was where they were going to finish their career. And now you're getting younger players who've come in and have shown that you come and play well in this league, you can move on. You know, Belfast has done well in the Champions League. You know, Cardiff played an Austrian league team in the Continental Cup last year and beat them 7-1 in Asiago. So, you know, there's no question that, in my opinion, the top teams in this league are teams that would be, you know, very, very solid teams in the Austrian league, and from a comparable side of things. So, yeah, we know that the guys running those teams, Simsy, want to win, and you know, they explore all their options just like we do. We know that Cardiff will reload, and Pete will have a good team on the ice. You know, Nottingham's got a new coach; they'll look to be improved. Glasgow's, like you said, got new owners. Belfast has been Belfast. You know, they've been tough to handle the last 2 years. So. Um, like I said, though, I'm fully focused on the cause here, making sure that we get our group right, and then it's just going to be about us gelling quickly. You know how there's only a 2 week training camp here in this league, so finding our identity early and often, and just one of the catchphrases we'll use next year is playing winning hockey. You know what I mean? You got to play winning hockey, and that's for 60 minutes. There were times last year where we go up 2-1 in a hockey game, don't step on it their throat, and we make a bad decision, off the run of play, and we end up giving that late goal up and losing in overtime or penalty shots and losing points. So it's the group we have coming back, we believe in. Having a year, having some of them have a year under their belt in this league too I think will also help.
Just to finalise that, just to finish, those guys coming back, it is a change of mentality, isn't it? That our league is about the league, and we get very upset in September and October if points are dropped. And is that a good thing, especially say with Jono not being there as well to reinforce that message? But that those imports that are returning actually get it, that the league is the number one priority.
Yeah, I think that'll help for sure. You need we push that we push the voice on that throughout the year, especially early on. But we also have had John O and Davey and Dowdy and a group of guys to able to push that as well. But that doesn't make it any easier. You know what I mean? Like, it is a long year. The year's a grind. You're gonna have off nights. It doesn't matter what league you play in, or the stakes. There's going to be nights where you're maybe not your best, and those are the nights where you got to grind out the wins, and find a way. And that comes from being team first. You know what I mean? And that's the reality, is even when you're not your best individually, as long as you're playing winning hockey and playing for the team, I feel like with the group we had, or with the group we're going to have, is you're still going to win a lot of hockey games. And I think that's, when you look back at last year, Simsy, it's, I think our win percentage was 71.5% at the end of the day. You look back at some of the teams that won it here, like, that number is in line or better with the trophy winning teams that you've had here. So, you can't look at last year as like, man, we were just a bad hockey team. We were a very good hockey team for a majority of the year. We had a rough run of games down the stretch. There's a lot of really good pieces in that hockey team last year. Now it's just going to be about getting a little bit better, and finding that extra 5, that extra 7, 10%, where it's going to change hockey games.
We start early September with those exhibition games against Nottingham and Cardiff. I know this full schedule probably won't come out for another month. You have seen it. I think we both agree Sean did a terrific job there. Your thoughts on the schedule? And it's a tough start.
Yeah, I mean, like we've talked about, it's of course it's a tough start. It's a it's a tough finish too. The run-in
Yeah.
is a good run-in. But that's what you want. You know what I mean? Like, there's no easy games in this league anymore. There's just not. It doesn't matter who you play in this league. If you don't play up to par, you will lose. I think that the league's gotten a lot better from top to bottom. And you better be ready. You better be ready to go early on here.
Okay, well, we wish you well in the recruitment, and we'll speak to you again for a couple of times in the summer. And I understand, as far as competitiveness and results go, you had a pretty good victory with Sean today.
Yeah, I played in a golf tournament with Sean today. Was a good one.
Steelers
I
win.
left I left before the results, but I did beat Sean.
Always good. Cheers, Aaron. Thank you.
Thanks. See you guys.